Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's adventure is a hot tent camp out in a little bit of powder snow. As you guys can see, the snow is starting to come into the forest. It's very windy. Snow is in the forecast, so I'm trying to tuck myself in this thick little pocket of forest with a clearing big enough for the tent. I've got the wood stove already set up. I've got the sleeping bag, all the sleep equipment ready to go. And I'm in an area with a huge abundance of ready to go firewood. I mean, all these twigs are just everywhere, ready to go. Don't even need to use a saw if I don't want to or if I don't need to right now. But I could basically prep a lot of this wood by hand, get it in the stove, get it burning really quickly, and start on a hot drink, and then go around and collect some firewood for this evening. So let's get started. Alright guys, I've got a cup of hot coffee on the go right now. Just kind of huddling around the wood stove. Very, very nice and warm. I did just find a piece of hardwood. So I'll explain what I'm kind of doing here for wood. I'm burning everything and anything that is loose on the ground. And this forest, unfortunately and fortunately, is primarily softwood. It's all spruce, a little bit of hemlock here and there, a little bit of pine. The bad thing with that is it's going to want to spit embers and possibly burn my tent. Now, anyone getting into hot tenting, know your tent's not going to burst into flames. It's just going to melt little pinholes, much like it would your jacket or a pair of pants. So it's not just going to burst into flames. Yes, it's going to damage the tent. It can damage the tent. Any tent, even canvas tents. If embers land on canvas tents, they can actually burn a hole through the canvas, just like a pair of, pants, like jeans. So there's kind of an upside to that. The burn of the wood will be very, very hot, very fast. So I can get this fire going really hot, really quickly, with minimal effort. Switching over to some of this hardwood. There's not a lot of it around. It'll burn longer and lower. It won't spit any embers like softwood does. It won't build up any creosote like a lot of the softwood does. Now keep in mind, this softwood I'm burning has like no resin in it. It is absolutely bone dry. This stuff goes up in a flame very, very, very quickly. But it burns out pretty quick. So getting some of this hardwood in here will lengthen the burn time. I won't have to load it as much. It's just kind of the name of the game today, guys. Gonna be a softwood kind of day. If it does snow, or if you're in an area where it is snowing and it's rather wet and your tent's wet, you really don't need to worry about it, because once the embers hit the outside of the tent, they'll basically go out without damaging your tent. So what I do, and I know that sounds silly, you're gonna spend a lot of money on a hot tent just to burn a hole in it. Yeah, that's the name of the game, guys. Unfortunately, it's gonna happen. It's how you prepare and how your mindset is on that purchase, I guess. So what I always do is bring a tiny little tube of clear silicone. Just go to your hardware store, pick up some silicone in a little tube, and just dab that little tiny dot on any kind of ember holes that may form on your tent. And it'll be sealed up, waterproof, heat resistant, it won't freeze, it won't crack. Really good method. Now this tent has 0 holes in it. I've gotten very, very good at this over the years. The length of the chimney pipe, at least 24 inches above the peak of the tent. This one is probably about 4 feet above the peak. This is a very low profile tunnel tent. This stovepipe I've been using, this exact stovepipe, on probably like 12 different stoves for 4 years. This exact pipe. So I've cut it down to a certain length that'll accommodate most of my tents. So far, it's been doing really, really well. Like I said, there's about 4 feet of clearance on this particular tent. So having a long chimney, you won't have to worry about embers in that sense, but you will be more susceptible to wind damage, the wind knocking the pipe over, folding it over in the middle of the night. If you're a person who burns the stove all night, that will basically be a very dangerous situation, because your tent will fill with smoke. Not good. I do not burn my tent, or I don't burn my tent. I don't burn my wood stove all night long, because I bring a very nice, warm, winter-rated sleeping bag and sleeping pad. Very warm inside of that. The stove I use for cooking and a little bit of creature comfort. I will mention that, yes, I do have both doors open right now. A lot of people have been commenting this on other hot tenting videos on my channel. The door is open because I've yet to invest in an X-ray camera. I'm filming a video, so the door needs to be open to film what is happening inside the tent. Yes, I'm cold, but this is why I'm out here. I love being cold. I love getting wet. I love getting in the snow. This is just what I do. I love doing this. If it's not cold, if it's not nasty out, if it's not rainy, it's going to be boring, honestly. Not everyone's out here doing this. This is where I'm happy. This is what I like to do. So later on, I will zip the doors shut, and I will be totally nice and warm, stripped down to a t-shirt, and lounge around out here. I'll mention the temperatures today are -7 degrees Celsius. It is windy. It's going to dip down a little bit more tonight, but we'll be plenty warm. So a little bit of tips and tricks there with hot tenting. This stove is a very small stove, but it absolutely makes this tent a sweat lodge if you really get it cranked up. I won't need it that hot later on this evening. -7 to -10 Celsius. I'll burn this half power, just the softwood, let it do its thing, and absolutely more than warm enough in here. Boomer's right down at the end right now, falling asleep. His little happy spot. So I'm going to chill out here and enjoy the sound of the wind coming through. This tent does have a window up top, so I can actually see the snow falling. I can see the smoke coming out of the chimney pipe. Nice little view here. So I'm just going to kick back, enjoy this view, and catch up with you guys in a few minutes. Alright guys, I've got a fair bit of wood here. Like I said, I'm not going to be burning the stove all night, but I would like enough wood in there to be comfortable, to cook my supper, and to wake up in the morning, light the stove, and heat up the tent. I will mention, I'm cutting this wood in what I like to do, my multi-purpose kind of fashion. So I'm not cutting the wood all the way through when I cut it. And the reason for that is I want to basically get two pieces out of one piece of wood, or two tasks done. I'm breaking off the end that I'm not cutting through, and what that does is it gives me a whole bunch of these like wooden splinters. So that is on purpose. I'm not trying to cut all the way through it, and these are awesome for starting the fire. They have so many jagged edges that the flames just grab a hold of and really help start a fire. So how I'm doing that most of the time, I plant this into the ground, put the saw about halfway through, and then snap it. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes it goes far, like too far. So there, I could peel that off and use that, but that piece really isn't going to work. Grab this piece over here and go a little bit less. Every piece of wood's going to be different, so we'll go about a quarter of the way on that, and there we go. That gives me that, and then I just simply peel it off. If I want to break it again, go up a little farther. This piece is still a little bouncy, but you guys get the idea there. all these little splinters break off. And then I've got the piece of wood that I've cut, and it has sharp edges on it as well, so it will catch very quickly when it goes into the stove. So there is a method behind how I do things. I know sometimes things look a little strange and people are probably wondering, like, why don't you just cut all the way through? Well, if I did that, I would still have to do more work later on creating little pieces of kindling. There's that piece right there I'm talking about. So I'm going to continue cutting up some of this wood. I will mention I did not bring my axe on this trip because I knew I was going to be in an area that was going to have a lot of pine and spruce and hemlock and stuff like that I could just break up with my hands. I did also clear off some of the branches off these trees around here that were eye level that I really don't want to have my eyes poked out. So I went around, cut some of them off, a little bit more wood here, and yeah, a little bit clean up of the area, no eye hazards. Boomer's inside right now, curled up on the sleeping bag. He's totally warm. Yeah, so I'm just going to get all this wood organized, and hopefully by then I can warm my hands up briefly. It is getting later in the day and a little bit darker actually. It's starting to cool down, I can feel it. So it's going to be soon time to cook supper, so get all this stuff straightened up, all the chores done, and we'll probably start cooking supper shortly. Alright guys, a little bit later in the day, and it is definitely time to get cooking some supper. So what I brought with me is 2 frozen hamburger patties. They've been in my backpack the whole time outside, so they're still frozen. Just gonna prop them up on the kettle near the stove so they can thaw out. Boomer has already eaten half of his bag of dog food. I'm gonna give him the rest of this right now. He does have a hamburger that he's gonna be eating as well. Not a patty, I just have hamburger meat in a bag that's frozen that I'm going to heat up for him. But I'm going to give him this now just because I don't like making him wait for food. So he eats little bits throughout the day. I give him that, and if he wants it, he can have it. And I'm going to start prepping. So I've got the heat from the stove lofting into my back right now, which is really nice. And I actually found some hardwood. I found one decent maple tree. Oh, it smells incredible. That is super dry and super dense. I've got probably 12 pieces of this that's going to burn really low and slow tonight, so that was a huge bonus. Drying out next to the stove. And yeah, I'm going to start prepping up some food. So I've got some buns. I've got this little tiny bottle of Tabasco sauce. I've got a couple packs of Hellman mayonnaise and an onion. Very, very simple meal on this trip. Super fast, super simple. And yeah, I'm starving, so I'm going to get that frying pan popped on there, get a burger in there, prep this up, and hopefully eat very quickly because I'm getting cold and hungry. All right, guys, just finished up with supper, getting a little bit later in the evening, and it is definitely getting colder. As you guys can see, the snow is actually starting to make it through the trees quite a bit. I did close the other side door to the tent just because that wind was whipping in, blowing snow all over the place. It's so warm in the tent that everything is just melting off the top, but the back side's still a little cool because this door's still open. I've got one piece of wood that I've got to cut down to size, and I'm going to stoke that stove up, get a nice hardwood log in there, probably prop my butt right on the sit pad, crack into a cold one, and start enjoying some of this heat. Boomer's inside right now, still got his jacket on. You got to get that off him in just a few moments. He's all warmed up and comfortable, so we're going to basically be hunkered inside the tent in a few minutes. There's some awful dark clouds coming this way, and I got a feeling that's going to be a big snow squall. So let's get this piece trimmed down. All right, guys, it is nightfall right now. The sky is still obviously a little bit bright, but the forest is black. Total darkness out there. Just shut the tent door as well and stoked up the wood stove. It is so warm in here right now. This has got to come off in about 2 seconds. Very warm in here. Just shut the door and I could tell I'm already going to break out in a sweat. So let's damp that down for the time being. So this hardwood that I have kicking around inside of the tent, I did start debarking a lot of it, and I do this often. I'll peel the bark off because the outer layer is usually the part that's wet and damp and will smoke and smolder, and it burns so much easier and faster without the bark. Also, when the bark is dry, so I'm not just throwing it away, this stuff will flare up your fire very quickly. So I've got a pile of bark off to the side. I've got some of these pieces of hardwood that are stripped, that are like you can just tell by the sound, totally dry. So that's looking really good. And then some of it I did leave the bark on because it actually controls the burn of the hardwood, making it burn a little bit slower because of that moisture content, which is nice for a low, slow burn. And then of course I've got all the softwood on that side, a little bit on that side as well. But it is definitely cozy in here. Boomer's inside the tent. He had to get away from the stove. It was too hot for him. It's so warm in here that the ground is actually starting to warm up. Like kneeling on the ground, it's warm. So yeah, going to be very, very warm tonight. I believe it's pushing about -8 degrees Celsius right now. The last time I checked, with this wind blowing through, it's not helping. The snow looks like it did stop. That's the beauty of this window. It looks like it did stop a little bit. It's getting very dark out there. The light that I have inside, both from my pump and the other light that I bring with me, is actually illuminating underneath the trees, so I can see a little bit of flurries kind of pushing in. But who knows what'll happen overnight. I know I have got to get out of these clothes. It is getting very, very hot. I want these boots off. I want to prop them up, get them nice and dried out. My feet next to that wood stove, get those warmed up, and kick back and relax. So I'm going to catch up with you guys first thing in the morning for coffee. Good night, everybody. Sit back next to this nice hot wood stove. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful, crisp, and cold morning out here this morning. So, there was a little tiny bit of snowfall last night. The forest floor is barely dusted. My backpack outside has probably about a centimeter of snow on it. Not a lot. And yeah, we chewed through quite a bit of firewood last night. I stayed up and watched 2 movies that I had saved on my phone. And we burned through pretty much all of the hardwood. I saved the softwood on purpose just so I can get the fire going really hot and really fast in the morning, and Boomer loves that. So it is going really well right now. I just loaded in a big piece of hardwood. And do you want that stick? He's a little cold. He was just outside running around, came back inside to get warmed up. So yeah, we're gonna load in a little bit more of the softwood. And excuse me, sir, I can't really see over your head. Hi. Here, let's put this. Hi. One more piece. All right. Okay, come on. Up. Come on. Come on. I know that's what you want. All right. So, trying to enjoy morning coffee. Putting Boomer into the fetal position of warmth. Is that what you wanted? He's shivering. I got his jacket right behind me, but he's like, let me go. Let me go. Do you want to go in the sleeping bag? Go. Here. We're just going to sit right there. The morning routine, he doesn't know what he wants. Oh, apparently he wants to go outside and be cold. Okay, sir. Oh, you're coming back? Are you coming back? Hi. Okay, while you're figuring that out, I'm gonna take a sip of this. Watch out, watch out. Okay. Being harassed by my miniature dog, you go right there, is part of the normalness around here. So the wood stove is going to take off in just a moment. I put that large piece of hardwood in there, so it's kind of smoldering, doing its thing. That softwood's going to take off in just a second. And we can speed that up. I don't know where I put it. Oh, right here. We can speed that up with the pump. Come on. And it's burning now. This little thing's great. Awesome. Love that. Works so good for a light, a pump, and a fire bellows. So I'm gonna chill out here this morning. I'm in down attire. I've got my down boots on, my down pants. I had my down balaclava last night as well. I just slipped this on over top of my hood because I don't like cinching my sleeping bag up tight around my face. I find it really uncomfortable. So I essentially had this on like this, and then I cinched that on, and then I do that up around my face, and yeah, I'm totally nice and warm. This is great if you want to put on like a non-hooded jacket over top of this. This goes down in the collar area and actually acts as a hood, except that it fits a lot tighter and it's very warm. I love it for hammock camping. Very warm for hammock camping. So yeah, this morning's going to be pretty laid back. Just going to chill out, enjoy some coffee. It did get very cold last night. Like I said, we burned a lot of hardwood, but I let the stove go out overnight because I just can't be bothered. I got a really warm sleeping bag. I don't want to reach out and load the stove constantly just to get a little bit of heat to fall back to sleep. Water bottle frozen, and this was about 18 inches away from the stove last night. So when I say the stove burns out, I mean it totally burns out. And once the stove burns out, it's back to wintertime. It's weird how that happens. Some people think that, oh, this tent's going to hold a lot of heat. That's actually false. No tent holds heat. That's not true. There are no thermal value, no R value to this fabric, okay? It will trap the hot air. But once the hot air dissipates, it's back to winter. And one other thing I will mention while I'm sitting here, people talk about carbon monoxide. What do you do about carbon monoxide poisoning? Well, these tents, the snow skirt is non-existent on this tent. And so this is kind of a 2-for-1. This tent does not have snow skirts. It does not need snow skirts. It is a hot tent. A lot of hot tents do have snow skirts, some do not. This is used for 3-season and 4-season use. You can use this with or without a stove. So around the bottom of the tent, there are just loads of rooms for oxygen to come in. The wood stove will not burn if there's no oxygen. It needs the oxygen to burn. So any stove is basically a vacuum. It's going to create a draw. It's going to pull in the oxygen. Well, the bottom of the tent is open. So when this is pulling in oxygen from inside the tent, it's got to be replaced by oxygen outside the tent. So it creates a cycle of clean air coming in, getting hot, going in the stove, going out. It's a cycle. And so not having the snow skirts, the tent does still get very, very hot. It's only down along the bottom that's, you know, it's open maybe an inch, a centimeter in some spots. Here it's not even open, right? Just where the ground's unlevel. I could pack snow around that. I could put wood around it. I'm not really bothered by it because heat rises. So as the heat comes up, this tent has a very low profile. So the heat comes up and then it goes down the tent, which is how it gets hot from end to end. Very, very nice sleep. So just a little bit of education there. Just want to touch on that just a bit because I know there's going to be some questions and I like to teach you guys as well as being out here filming my experience. So yeah, we slept very, very, very warm. He's shivering right now. I don't know why you don't come in. Come on. The fire's right here. He's a winter dog. He's a miniature husky. Not actually, but that's kind of how his demeanor is. I will tell you right now, and probably the only time I'm going to say this, he is a Jack Russell, a long-haired Jack Russell crossed with a Chihuahua. He is full grown. He is, how old are you, 3 years old now? You are almost a senior citizen. Long-haired Jack Russell crossed with a Chihuahua. That is what Boomer is. I get asked all the time. That's what he is. And he loves the winter. He loves the snow. He loves the ice. He's been doing this since I got him at the age of 6 months. He's he goes camping more than most mountaineers, to be completely honest. He's been in so many weather patterns, hurricanes, snowstorms, massive rainstorms, thunder, lightning. You name it, he's been there and he's done it and he loves it. Sometimes strapped to my chest on a four-wheeler, sometimes strapped to my chest on an electric scooter, sometimes on my bike. All over the place. So, a little bit of information there. We are going to get warmed up, enjoy this coffee, and then probably start getting dressed and getting out of the tent. Cheers, guys. Get some coffee. Hello, time to go. Come on. Time to come out of there, sir. No, not time to lay down. Come on. Alright guys, I've got everything packed up inside of the bag and I am ready to get out of here. Yes, I'm going to be marching out of here wearing my down pants because I'm totally comfortable. It is starting to snow. It's rather cold out, so I do want to get moving. Everything fit in there very nicely. Boomer is off somewhere doing boomer things, probably chasing squirrels. He never goes far and he always catches up. So I'm going to do a once over the area, make sure everything's good. Everything in here is very, very good. The trip was incredible. Very small woodland area. I had a lot of fun out here. And yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Till next time, peace out. I'll see you in the next one.